going to study, by the way. So I'm skipping sine law a little bit, I know, but I'm coming back to it. Don't worry. Don't you worry. So this is on page 15, okay? Oh, there's that joke alert. I couldn't help it. I had to insert that. Why couldn't trigonometry get a loan? Because he had nobody to cosine. It's funny, guys. Come on. You know it. Anyways, so cosine law. It's a new way to solve things. So we kind of explored sine law. And I used to do this. I used to spend tons of time just sine law, sine law, sine law. So students thought everything is sine law, right? It's like, no. There's cosine law as well. So I'd rather expose you to both, and then we're going to start seeing how they work. Okay? When do you choose? How do you choose? Okay? So far, we were able to solve any oblique triangle. Remember, oblique is just a non-right angle triangle using sine law. But what if you have a triangle without a pair? If you don't have a pair, right? What do you do then? Well, the answer is you need cosine law. Okay? Cosine law works in two very distinct, you almost can't miss it. This is on page 15. So draw a triangle like this. Make it off-centered, not symmetric. Okay, like the top shouldn't be right in the middle. Okay. So no, I'm not going to put letters on there. Sorry, I was going to, but I'm changing my mind. Okay, one scenario would be like this. If you have two sides given and you have the angle between them, we call that side angle side. You see how the angle is sandwiched between the two sides? You don't have to worry about remembering this. Just remember this scenario, okay? So angle is sandwiched between sides, right? That's basically just my translation of that. That'd be for sure, you take that, right? And then the other one, let's make an obtuse triangle. Let's make it look like this. So you open it and then make it look like that. What if all three sides are given? This is called an SSS. Side, side, side. No angle. This is a dead giveaway. For me, this is like cosine. That's the only one that will work. Okay? The only one that would work. I think you are getting the point. There's no pair to be had, right? This one, look at this one. Like, there is no angle across from the side. There's no way. Same here. There is not even an angle to be had, right? So you know if there's no pair, I got to use cosine law. And I'm going to give you the formulas here. So SAS, when you have this scenario, your goal is to find the side across here. If you have side, 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 your goal is to find one of the angles to start you off. Okay. So here we go. Formulas. If you have a red pen or a pen that is a different color, I'm going to use that here. Just one other color if you have it. If you don't, it's not the biggest deal, but it will make it pop out a bit more. So if you wanted to solve for side A, so it's an SAS scenario, you have to solve for, let's say this is the side you want to solve for. So you know side angle side here, and that's the side you want to solve for. You're going to use this formula. A squared is equal to the other two sides, both squared, and added. And you're like, this looks like Pythagorean theorem. But it's going to turn, and it's going to look completely different. Watch this. Then you go minus 2 times B times C, and so this is all multiplying, guys, times cosine, and this is where the other color comes back, angle A. Okay. You see why I'm using red? If you're trying to solve for side A, you better have the angle across from it here. Right? That's how that works. Let's say you wanted to solve for side B, then this is what it would look like. So if you want B squared, you're basically wanting to figure out this side. That means that you would know side, angle, side up here. So the other two sides that are known to you would be A squared and C squared. What's the pattern? You see that up here? BC showed up again here. BC. See that? B squared, C squared, and then 2 times B times C. So we're going to go 2 times A. My goal is that after a while you won't even look at the formulas. Maybe just glance at it, but you'll just remember the pattern. And this is cosine. Please don't put a sign there. Some students put a sign. If it looks like this, it doesn't look anything like the sine law, right? It looks completely different. So if you want this side, B, then you got to have that angle across from it on the other end here. And last but not least, if you wanted side C, you got to start with C squared. That would be A squared plus B squared. Those are the other two sides. Minus 2 times A times B times cosine of, you guessed it, angle C. Make a capital C there. And just before you don't panic, you're like 3 formulas. No, just one. You just need to know one of them. These are all just variations. Okay, so I will tell you that you only need to know one. One version. Okay. Some students are like, oh my goodness, I'm going to need all this space on my study sheet. No, you don't really need to. And I'll show you that. Maybe I'll show you that a little later. The formula sheet has them, but it looks different, and they don't give you a triangle, so you don't know what the letters mean. So I would say maybe you should have a little triangle on your study sheet. Next, side, side, side. Remember, in this scenario, you would know every single side. Okay, that would be a number. This is how you do that one, guys. You ready? You would have to start your formula like this: cosine of angle A, let's say that's the one you want to find first, is equal to, you put a line like this, a long line like that, it would be B squared plus C squared. This is where I'm using my pen again. Watch this. See how angle A is here? You're going to go minus A squared. And then down here, it's going to be 2 times B times C. Oh my goodness, right? Don't worry. I will show you how to use them. It's not scary at all. Trust me. Just so you know, this formula is just a rearranged version of this one. So if you're trying to find a side, which is SAS, you would use this one. If you're trying to find an angle, which is when you have an SSS case, you would use this one. Okay. So basically, your study sheet should only have that. Okay, you don't need all these other variations, but it's important to see the pattern. So if you wanted to solve for angle B, watch this. This is what I want you to do from now on. When you work with this formula, you're not going to do anything here. The first thing I want you to do is like, okay, the side across this angle is going to come back here. Subtract. That's my first order of business. And then I'm going to take the other two sides and just square them and add, right? So a squared c squared minus b squared is across b. And then you go 2 times a, watch this, right? 2 times a, which is the first one here, times c, which is that second one there. So b doesn't show up at all. It's only on the denominator. It only shows up here up top. Okay, it's very important. Some students plug this one in here. It should not happen. Okay. Cosine of c, last one. Watch this. I'm going to go a long line like this. And then I'm going to go minus c squared first and foremost. So if c is taken, watch up here on my, I'm going to cover up c with my thumb. Right? So you're left with a and b. So those are the two sides that you add like that. And then it's 2 times a, right, this first one, times b, second. And I get a lot of mistakes. The student somehow wrote down the wrong formula. You forgot a squared, or you forgot the minus, and that throws everything off, right? So you got to make sure you get that right. So why am I doing this? Just so you see the pattern. But you really don't need to have this on your study sheet, okay? The bottom two, I would just have one of each, that's it. And then here, I want to make a note here, okay? When given a choice, comma, solve for largest angle first. And I'm not going to go into details, but just trust me. Which one would be the largest angle? How would you know? It would be across the longest side, right? You know all three sides, so the longest side is going to have the biggest angle across from it, right? Just think of that. And so it could be an obtuse angle. It could actually be bigger than 90, right? So cosine will take care of that. Let's use it. So we're doing good time-wise. So we're gonna do SAS first, and then we're gonna do this one. I don't think we'll have time for this, but we'll have time for this one because I want to hand back the tests and stuff like that. So follow me to page 16. All right. You guys are so smart. I only have to do one example, and I think you'll be able to do it. Okay. That's how smart you are. Okay, cosine law for side lengths. So it is, if that SAS mumbo jumbo confuses you, forget about it, right? But this is how you find SAS scenario which is a length. So watch, check, 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 right? You know that this is two sides, and the angle in between there is wedged in between them. It's like a sandwich. I could also say this, okay? You're looking at this triangle right now. You know sine law, cosine law, they're both an option. I will make a note, there's no pair. Can't use sine law. So that's actually, for some students, that's helpful because they rule out you can't use sine law here. That's for sure. So I have to use cosine law. So you should recognize, okay, SAS, my only option here is to solve for this side, right? And watch, this one is across. You've got angle A and side A like that. That's perfect. Okay, so let's solve that. I'm going to write down the formula here. A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared, so these other two sides, minus 2 times B times C times cosine of 43 degrees. Oh, sorry. I didn't want numbers just yet. Okay. You don't need to do this. I'm just doing this for your very first example. Okay. Cosine law. So you go A squared is equal to 7.9 squared plus C is 5.2, right? So 5.2 squared minus 2 times 7.9 times 5.2 times cosine of the only angle that's available, guys. That's actually, you can't miss that. Right? If it's an SAS, you only have that one angle, so that needs to go there. And now, because it's A squared, what needs to happen to both sides to get rid of that squared? The check thingy, right? Square root. So we're going to go like this. Oh, wait. Sorry if you already did this, I apologize. But I'm going to do this for a reason. I'm going to leave some space here and go a little further down. So A is square root of this whole thing. Grab your calculators. If you have a pretty decent calculator, I can tell you this. You're able to type this all in one shot and it will be correct. So watch how I do it. 7.9. I have an x2 button. Watch. I have an x squared button. If you don't, you should have a hat like this, a little hat, or a y to the x button. So if you need to press that one to square something, that's how you do it. I will not use that. I will use my x2 button, which squares things. So 7.9 squared plus 5.2 squared, please try this, minus 2 times 7.9 times 5.2 times cosine of 43 degrees. And then I hit equals. And some students think this is the answer. It's not the answer. It's just what all this is, which goes in here. 29, 3619, and that keeps going. Right? It's inside the root. So you go to find A, you need to square root that. So I can just press the square root button, hit equals, and it will give me that, 5.42. There we go. Go ahead. You just figured out how to figure out that side. I walked you through it. But I think I at least want you to know how this works, okay? So let's say you want to do this in steps. Just watch up here. If you square and add the first two here, that's actually 89, 45, minus this other part here, this whole thing here, is going to be 7.9 times 5.2 times cosine of 43. Watch this. I want you to use at least 4 decimals. Use at least 4 decimals. If you want to do this in steps, I do not recommend that, but some of you might want to. And then you go 89.45 minus 60.0880. You get that, so it's different, right? Because you round it. That's okay. Take the square root of that. You still get 5.42. just like we did. Okay? So some of you have calculators that aren't so friendly, so that's when you need to maybe break it down. Okay, break it down into steps. Capiche? I'm gonna skip this bottom part here for now, and I'm just gonna get you to work with this right next door, next page, 17. So before you do anything, before you check your phone and whatnot, you're gonna try one, okay? 17, come with me. I will give you the answers already so you can tell whether or not you're doing things right. I don't want it to be a secret, right? I want you to know I got it right. So the first one is 7.86 kilometers. And this one here, y, is 8.55 centimeters. I can tell you this. It might be that you have an issue with one of them. And I want you to find out if there's an issue. And you can call me if you run into that issue. Because it's probably going to be specific to you.